Hello, good afternoon. My name is Akhil. I am AVP Digital Commerce with Royal Cyber, and here we are again, another webinar, another day. But today we'll be talking about YOC, which means your own commerce. So let me quickly start with giving a quick background to any of the joiners who are joining Royal Cyber webinar for the first time. We have been in the business for almost 2 decades now. Started with e-commerce. That's how we grew. Currently, we look into digital commerce, digital transformation, digital marketing, digital analytics, and on top, we also build our own solutions to fill the gaps which are there on many enterprise solutions available in the market. We have 1,200 plus employees globally. We are in 10 different countries, 600 plus clients, and we are headquartered in Naperville, Illinois. So this is a very popular end building in Naperville. So we are in one of these the floors of this building. We take our quality very seriously. Quality is paramount, and that has reflected in various ISO certifications that we have gathered over time, along with a lot of laurels that come our way in terms of best and the brightest companies to work for. And we have been getting this award for the last 5 years. And few additional accolades that come our way are presented on the screen. In terms of expertise, we work in cloud, commerce, RPA, AI, ML, integration, middleware, DevOps, blockchain, big data, mobile, portal, BPM, ODM, S400, BI, and most recently, I won't say recently because we have been working on our 3D platform for a couple of years now, but now we have launched an enterprise version of this platform as 3DD Plus, a separate site where you guys can go and see what can be achieved using this platform. Some of our high-level customers you'll see at the bottom. We work with American Express, Abercrombie and Fitch, Humana, Augusta Sportswear, HSBC, David Bridal, Coppel, Aramark, Nationwide, who have been using our services and the solutions that we have built over a period of time. So let's quickly jump into what do we mean by YOC? So it's a short form for your own commerce, but what does that really mean? When we say your own commerce, what we're trying to tell you is like you can continue to use your existing commerce, but we want you to be ready for the future. Like future is already here. We have customers who have started using microservices, as back as like 2020. So customers started early because they wanted to liberate themselves from the monolith or single structures that they have been using over a period of time in terms of e-commerce, and all the customizations that they have added to their existing e-commerce has simply made the whole setup more and more complicated. Now they are at a point where investments that are required to make new enhancements on the platform seem to be greater than replacing the whole platform or platform altogether. But changing from existing monolith platform to a microservices based or a hybrid modern platform is no easy feat either. So there's a lot of planning that needs to be done because you want to make sure that all the customization that you have done over a period of time and which are liked by your customers can be moved flawlessly to the new platform. More so, customers are looking at which platforms actually have those features out of the box nowadays. So they don't really have to invest on customizations, because in the future, if they wish to change from this new platform that they're signing up on and they want to move somewhere else, it should be more easier than how it is today. So after realizing this, that a lot of our customers were in the same boat, and at Royal Cyber, we position ourselves as a strategic partner. So as part of strategy, we want to make sure the customers spend more time in generating more revenue rather than thinking about how they can do it. So that's where the R&D engine of Royal Cyber comes into place. This is a complementary services that we offer to all our existing customers, where we come up with new ideas, give them shape, do POCs, and if it is liked by our customers, we actually go ahead and build a product at no cost to the client, and we usually use open source technologies to achieve it. So we are actually going to talk about one such accelerator that we have built, and we called it YOC, which is your own commerce. So if we quickly do a recap of, I am very sure that you guys know what's the difference between monolith and microservices-based architecture, but just a quick recap for someone who has just begun on this journey and is trying to understand how things work. A monolith can be, a single technology setup that you have been using or you have started building your solution on. Benefits, it's very easy for development because you just need to know one language. You might be using a language that is very commonly you find a lot of developers on, or it might be a new language as well, but you don't really have to invest too much on varied skill set within your team. Testing is very easy because usually these platforms since they use one technology, so you can use one solution or multiple solutions only addressing that technology and use cases. Deployment is also easy as well. Mostly all modern monolith platforms or hybrid platforms also come with CI/CD out of the box, which will help you achieve deployments at a click of a button. Scaling, you can scale these environments as much as possible by making replica of these environments and deploying it across as many servers as you want. So horizontal scaling is available to you. And the best part is like everything is put together in a single package. Like if you're talking about CMS, search, e-commerce engine, some have some marketing capabilities as well. Some platforms come with the insights as well. So all is packaged into a single bundle. So what you need to do is you just need to know how to use it and you can start using it. So that's the ease that a monolith platform offers you. But if like, everything is so fine, so nice, why would you actually want to move to a microservices based architecture? That might be the question that is coming to you. So with microservices, what happens is like you can use varied skill set, which means you don't have to stick to one technology like Java or .NET. You can actually use a multitude of technologies because all the components between a microservices based architecture are decoupled. They do not have a dependency on each other. Rather, they work as a producer and consumer. So one might be producing some information that the other component is going to consume, and vice versa. So now the challenge is how you make sure that all these components work in tandem, are able to communicate with each other and give you the desired result. So that's where the complexity comes into the picture. But this complexity gives you a lot of additional features which are needed by you in order to give your customers a better experience, saving costs at the same time in terms of how you are managing your infrastructure, and making it more DevOps friendly, which means less and less intervention from physical hands, making more and more making it more and more autonomous or automated, which means you can even achieve daily deployments if that is one of your goals that you want to achieve from your microservices architecture. It offers you both vertical and horizontal scaling, which means you can only invest more on the microservices that are more desired on the site or which has more audience, and limit the ones on the other components. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. And that's the reason why if you are sitting on monolith, you're very comfortable, why you should be moving. So if unless you have this need where you want to decouple components, your company has grown, you have a lot of traffic coming in, so you want to make sure that you're investing on the right infrastructure for the right technology or right component. So you need to do that. And in order to take advantage of more advanced options or enhancements which are available in the e-commerce space nowadays, you need to have architecture which is which you can monitor at every single step. Like you can monitor all the APIs in the microservices architecture. If you want to give anyone access to these APIs, you can do that, and you can then have a monitor to make sure that they are not overusing. So there are a lot of additional capabilities that a microservices architecture would give you. So decoupled architecture is one of them. You can have independent teams, so your dependency is not on one technology. You can use a varied set. There's no technical dependence, which means like you can code in Node.js, PHP. You can use Java, Python, Ruby on Rails. Continuous deployment and development, because the teams are independent. So you can write scripts, DevOps scripts, to make sure all those components work in tandem, they're deployed, and you can have a single dashboard where you can control all of this, and you can even automate it, so you don't even need to press any buttons. Independent scaling, so each and every component can be scaled, so you don't have to scale the whole setup together. You can just focus on one component and scale that component, saving you the cost and giving better performance to the customer at a lesser cost. So yeah, so better testing, because now not only, I'm not saying easy testing, I'm saying better testing, because testing is a little more complex when it comes to microservices, but it is better because you can monitor each and every single component that formulates your pyramid. So you can if you have solutions. So this is one of the challenging areas, testing, when you have to test a microservices based architecture. And that's where Royal Server also have additional solution. We call it GTP, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the upcoming slides. So these are the advantages that a microservices platform gives you. But getting from a monolith to a microservices based platform is no easy deal. We have clients who have been working on it for 2 years almost, but still they are not there yet. So it requires a very detailed level of planning, looking at where we are, where we want to be, and then try to plan it out, like, okay, if we have all these features, are there any new modern architectures available in the microservices space which gives you those features out of the box? If yes, okay, so let's pick those ones, see what is available out of the box, and then try to recreate what needs to be recreated. A smart choice here would be, when you're comparing various e-commerce platforms, you also work with vendors like Royal Server has its own set of accelerators, which can also reduce your cost for any customization that might be required by more than 30%. And that's exactly what YOC does, and we'll be talking more about that. As per IDC, by 2022, 90% of all apps will feature microservices-based architecture that improve the ability to design, debug, update, and leverage third-party code. 35% of all production apps will be cloud native. So this is a statement that was given by IDC in 2020. But have we achieved that? No. And what are the reasons? The reasons are that microservices are not very straightforward. They have additional complexity, and that's the reason mostly the enterprises would have easily from 1 year to 2 year roadmap to move from monolith or hybrid to microservices based platform. There are a lot of transition challenges because you have to literally design how the data, which is you already have sitting on the monolith or hybrid, would look like in a microservices based architecture, because in microservices based architecture you have independent databases for each and every component. So we need persistence. We need to make sure when the data is divided into individual components, but when you're accessing it, the data persists, right? Testing is better, but it's complicated. Now you don't have to just handle one single monolith setup. You have to handle a number of individual modules or microservices based smaller modules. Monitor them, right? Have autonomous code or automated code to test it out. So managing that becomes a little bit of hassle if you're not using the right tools, and that's where another solution from Royal Cyber comes into the picture. Inter-services communication. So let's say if you have multiple microservices which are speaking to each other, and just giving you a little bit of industry knowledge. In 2022, there were various surveys that were conducted, and just trying to understand how complex enterprises are going on with the microservices. So it was realized that maximum microservices any enterprise was using in 2022 were 10, which means 10 individual components which are talking to each other using various messaging platforms like Redis and so on and so forth, which is necessary because you want to make sure that these components are speaking to each other in order to give the customer the experience they're looking for, and are doing that faster. Deployment is not easy either because you have n moving parts. So making sure that they are deploying and in the exact fashion that you would need takes a little bit of clockwork, but once you have set it up, then it just works flawlessly. And it even enables you to do deployments on a daily basis. I'm not talking about months, I'm not talking about weeks, I'm talking about doing a deployment daily. So because you can only focus on the component that has changed, you don't have to do end-to-end deployment. So that brings us to the solution that we are offering. So what we have learned in the last 2 years and what we have put together is an accelerator, which will allow you to, first of all, do the very first step, which is very crucial for you to move to a microservices based architecture. That is to decouple your existing monolith or hybrid setup. So, and how does that work? So using a YOC accelerator, it has various features. It not only decouples your individual components, it prepares you for the future because now you have decoupled all those components. Whatever commerce you're using, you continue to use it, so you're not worried about any additional licensing or increased licensing. On the contrary, it can help you reduce the licensing cost that you're paying to your service provider at this point, because we are going to remove search out of it, your IPSP, your CMS, all of that. You can choose any search you want. So our YOC is pre-integrated with the many popular search platforms, enterprise search platforms like Elasticsearch, Algolia, Bloomreach. So as a business user, you can actually go to a dashboard and pick and choose what search you want to use. And I'll be showing that as part of the demo. Same goes with your CMS. And if you would have noticed, like previously in late 2000, we used when only IBM eCommerce was there and Hybris was coming up. At that time, mostly these e-commerce platforms were entirely used for the e-commerce purposes, which is your transactional capabilities. And you would use third-party CMS platforms like OpenCMS, Adobe, and so on and so forth to give the customer the experience they're looking for visually, so they can go through the catalog, and once they're ready, then they can move to the shopping cart, and that's where your transactional capabilities would kick in, and you would only license your e-commerce platform for that. But as we went past that decade and we came into 2010s, we realized that almost all enterprise solutions started coming pre-packaged with the search and along with a CMS as well. which means you don't really have to worry about the integration. Everything is available to you as a business user. You can explore those capabilities, do a bit of work here and there, and you're up and running. Now we're going back to the as a cycle repeats itself, right? So we are going back to a setup where now enterprise customers wants to use a commerce engine purely for the transactional capabilities. They want to rely on third-party CMS solutions because they have become more modern, more API based, more SaaS based, that they do not really want to combine the complexity of the front end with the back end. Same goes with the search. Now, customers want an enterprise search. They do not want to use the search which is embedded in your commerce setup, because that search cannot really communicate with 10 other external parties. Even if you are able to do that, it would be too complex to maintain and to change that in the future. So that's where also YOC comes into the picture. So let's quickly understand how YOC changes the landscape of your existing e-commerce setup. Just doing a time check. So we just 15 minutes in. So this is how your typical enterprise e-commerce setup would look like. So it would have an e-commerce engine, search, embedded front end, which is your storefront accelerator. You'll have your catalog management, and then it would have an internal integration layer that you would integrate with third-party solution like analytics, IPSPs. If you have a single page application, if you're using Sterling Order Management or Manhattan or any other order management solution. So all of that would integrate with your commerce integration layer. You might have a third party or external middleware as well, which simply adds further to the complexity. It makes it easier for you to manage it, but it's an additional moving component. So now, if you're sitting on such a setup, which is your monolith setup, or it can be hybrid as well. Now, if you have to make any changes to this, because by the time you are up and running with a particular configuration, there might be an update which is waiting for you to deploy it. It might have a very crucial security update. So what do? Do you not deploy it? You have to deploy it. So that becomes part of your yearly roadmap. Okay, we go live, we see what are the new updates available. If there's a crucial update with respect to security or a front end or a basic e-commerce functionality which really people want, you have no other choice but you have to upgrade your setup. And that cost can be, and I'm being very conservative here, so that cost can be easily between 4 to 6 months and $300,000. Being very conservative, it's usually more than this. And that is when you are changing your e-commerce, and you have no choice but you have to upgrade all the components that come with the e-commerce, which can be your search, front end, catalog, commerce engine, integration layer. And if you do not want to take advantage of the new features, you would still be required to move to the newer version, keeping your old customization. So while you're spending for the migration, you're not taking advantage of the new features which are available. So it's a very catch-22 situation. Either ways, you have to do it. 4 to 6 months, $300,000, and then on top, you have to upgrade the integrations too, which can be a smaller project, but it has a time and money associated with it. OMS would be slightly more complex. So yeah, 2 to 3 months, $80,000. Now, how YOC would help? Like, let's say if you as a customer said, okay, Akhil, you know what? YOC looks promising. We have a roadmap that in a year or so we want to move to a microservices based architecture or a hybrid architecture, or we don't want to move, but we want to be prepared for the future. So how can YOC help? So my answer would be, the moment you start using YOC, and I'll show you what component YOC comprises, it's an accelerator. It's not a product, it's not a solution, it's an accelerator which will help you move your search and CMS and IPSP, all those components out of your e-commerce, which means your e-commerce will purely work as a for catalog management and commerce engine. So your search is out now. Now, when your search is out, you're not limited to the search that comes embedded with your e-commerce platform. It can be any search. It can be Solar, which is available separately, Lucidworks, Elasticsearch, Bloomreach, Algolia. So all of these search can be in parallel, integrated with your e-commerce, and as a business user, you can actually go and switch it on runtime and change that search if there's a feature that you would want to utilize for a period of time, or you want to pass it on to the customers and enhancements. So you can do that. IPSP, you can use multiple IPSPs. You don't have to worry about switching from one to another, which would mean a downtime on the website. No, you can keep on adding new ones from the business dashboard. You can go and switch between various payment providers. And one of the biggest challenges we have seen with IPSP is sometimes when they're going through, a hack or a DDoS attack, the payments do not go through. So do you sit and wait for those things to be fixed? No, you should be in a position to quickly provide an alternative, and having a decoupled architecture helps you do that. And how we achieve it? We achieve that using the YOC Accelerator. So here the YOC Accelerator works as a middleware and an ETL tool, which means all the integrations are going through, are connected. All these various components are connected to each other using the YOC Accelerator. So your commerce speaks to the YOC, your search speaks to the YOC, your IPSP speaks to the YOC. If you have a single page application, a 3D customizer, API monitor, test automation, caching, CMS, OMS, AIML, chatbot, everything is now connected to your middleware and ETL, which is part of your YOC Accelerator. So any changes now you want to do, a very quick work. So you want to replace your existing e-commerce with a new one, the customer will not even know, because your front end, your search, all the integrations are staying intact. So you replace your existing one, put a new one, pretty short piece of work, because you are out of the box. You're using out of the box engine, so you don't have to worry about customizations. You want to change your search, even smaller work. You want to change your IPSP, even smaller. And same is true for all the individual components that constitute your YOC accelerator. So with that done, now you are in a position, in a very comfortable position, if I have to put that way, to move to any microservices based platform. We are partners with Commerce Tools. We have done 3 integrations already, and very promising platform. So this is something that what we did is like, so one, we give you an accelerator, but how do we also help you to start using it, right? So the biggest challenge would be migrating the data. So if you are sitting on an existing platform and you want to move to a new platform, the biggest challenge would be how the data would be migrated. How easy or difficult is that going to be? So that's where the YOC also comes to your rescue. So we have pre-built data mapping done to convert any of the data on the platform on the left-hand side to Commerce Tools at a click of a button. And I'll show you the dashboard where you can actually go ahead and select that option that, okay, you are sitting on this platform right now, you want to move to this platform, and you also want to do a data migration. So these pre-written routines that we have, predefined routines we have, it works with out of the box. And if you have some customizations done to your data structure on any of the existing platforms, what we can do is we can configure it to take into account your customizations. So the initial batch that we generate from your X platform to Commerce Tools is pretty straightforward, and your demo site can be up and running in like matter of days. So that's how YOC also helps you. Then if you so it has pre-integrated search, Algolia, Elasticsearch, Bloomreach. So if you are using an existing search from your platform like maybe Solar, you can actually go to the dashboard and use Royal Cyber's pre-integration with Algolia, Elasticsearch, and Bloomreach to go up and running in like matter of days. So you can switch once that is integrated. As a business user, you can actually switch between these different searches and start using it. And same is true for your CMS as well. So we work with Drupal, Contentful, your content stack, Adobe AE Manager. So all these integrations are pre-built. So as a business user, once we have done the configuration for your YOC setup, you can actually go and click on any of these CMS platforms, and the template gets loaded, which would be identical, because you don't, if you want to give your customers a different experience, so you can have different templates. But we have pre-built templates for various industries that you can build on top of, and all these platforms have all those templates in an editable format. And these platforms support single page applications too, so you can continue to use your existing SPAs or the SPAs that come as part of YOC Accelerator. So let me quickly jump to a demo page that I've put on. Yeah. So you're on commerce. So this is the YOC Accelerator. This is the front end. We have written it purely on Vue storefront. So again, using open source technologies, so you don't have to worry about licensing or any additional cost. We have various templates that we have created. So if I go here, this is a homepage which is a purely editable as a business user, all the categories, all the imagery, by using any of the CMSs that I talked about, which is your Contentful, Content Stack, your Adobe AEM, Drupal. So this is SPA and totally editable. So if I go ahead and look at various categories, so I have women, men, new accessories, all of that. If I click on any of those, let's say if I click on women, and then I go here and click on sunglasses. So all these categories are pre-built. This is a demo instance, so bear with me in terms of how soon or later the products come in. Let's try a different category. Start from beginning, clothing. Okay, here we are. So you can see the products here. We have a quick view. If you want to directly add to the shopping cart, click on the page. You can go to the page and see what the contents of the page are. Totally customizable using View Storefront. And let's say right now you see the categories as men, women, new accessories. So I can actually log in at this point to change the backend. So let's see what backend we're currently on. If I log in as a business user. So it is using commerce tools right now. So I can switch and move to any of these platforms as part of the POC. Let me go back to Magento, start the move. So here you see that we have a checkbox. So if you want to migrate the data as well, you can do that automatically. So it has already switched. So we go back to the site. So you see the categories have changed. Now it's only have women and men and sale. And so we are on the Magento side right now. And if I go to various products that we have in those categories, we can quickly see that too. So while we are launching the page, so here we are. So if I click on clothing this time, you will have slightly different products because we have purposefully kept different catalogs. But if you are a customer who is using it, you probably would have the same categories across all the individual platforms. So here we have different products which are different from what we saw previously. Again, you can quickly add the front end, the product to your shopping cart. You have various categories available out of the box or filters that you can play with. And the best part is like when I switch the platform, the front end does not change. So your customers never know what's going on. If you're making any changes while there's a downtime on one platform, you can switch to the other platform and continue to use it. So if I want to go back again to commerce tools, I'll log in as a business user again, log in. It'll tell me I'm using Magento. Here search also, we have Elasticsearch running right now, and then I can also do Algolia if I wish to. So going back to commerce engines, I'll move it back to commerce tools. If I want to do a migration, which can take a lot of time depending upon how big your database is. So I'm not going to click on that right now. I'll click on the move, it starts moving, it gives you a progress bar. Once it is done, it's completed. Now if I go back to the landing page, the home page, it'll show me different categories. So similarly, in the new version that we're launching, we have in the dashboard a CMS option as well. So you can switch between different CMSs, and when you log in as a business user, the front end of that CMS platform would enable you to make changes on the fly to the single page application that you're looking at. So here you can see now we have additional categories that we can work with. It has NLP out of the box. If I'm looking for a red bag, I'll get those suggestions as part of your suggestive search. So we have NLP running out of the box, so you don't have to start from scratch here. So you can start using it on the word go. So yeah, this one doesn't have, I think that is in the Magento, we have red bag. So it doesn't have a red bag, so it did not give me any result. But yeah, so this is the accelerator that we pass on to our customers totally free of cost. There's no cost associated with the licensing. We simply do an engagement where we set it up for you based on what your current situation is. We set it up for you, and then it becomes your product. So you don't have any ownership to us. We engage with you. We give you the services. You like the services, we continue on those services. And if we have a running engagement that enables you with all the updates that will keep on happening on the platform as well. Otherwise, you are in a position now to be well prepared for the future, for your future roadmap to move to any e-commerce platform from any commerce platform or a proprietary solution you might be using at this point. So quickly going back to my presentation, because one of the components I was talking about was testing, because testing gets really, really complicated when you start using a microservices based platform. And so unless you have a specialized tool to take care of it, it can be quite a challenge. So what we did is to fill that gap as well, we had a product called TIEF, test automation. And we have been working on this platform for almost 4 years now. And now we have launched a newer version of TIEF, and we call it GTP, which is a Go Test Pro. So we have a landing page for GTP as well if you would want to know what are the additional features and how you can sign up for a complimentary access as well. So go and register yourself and you'll be able to use it. It's a visual tool, which means you don't have to write a single piece of code for your testing purposes. So you can use a visual tool to write test cases or define the test cases, and then you can execute those test cases, or you can automate for those test cases to be executed as soon as the build and deployment happens. It automatically runs those test cases. You can specify the threshold. Okay, if the build if 85% test cases pass or 90%, you can proceed with the build. Otherwise, reject the build, send the right communication to all the stakeholders. For all the tests that fail, it can capture all the logs, screenshots, heat maps. If you are into a UI testing, it does UI testing, does pixel mapping. You can specify what is the allowable threshold, like okay, 2 pixels here and there is fine, not fine. You can define it. It will create a heat map of the designs that were approved with the pages that the program can see on laptop, desktop, tablet device, mobile device. So you can specify different resolutions for the test as well. So it captures all those logs, screenshots, will put them together and raise as a defect and assign it to the project owner. If it is an existing defect, known defect, it has integration with Jira. It can find those details, make all those attachments in that existing defect, reopen it and reassign it to the developer who was working on it. So the biggest challenge that we're also trying to resolve with the GTP is moving your testing curve to the left. So any defect that happens, as part of development, and when you find the defect in production, the average cost of to fix that defect is more than $7,000. However, if you can detect that defect in the initial phase, the development phase itself, the cost comes down to $80. So that's what GTP enables you to do. Capture those defects in the development phase itself. So once a developer has done writing his or her code, the GTP gets executed. It makes sure it follows through all the test cases for that particular module. Any failures, they are detected then and there, and they get passed on back to the developer. Now the developer has to fix it. It goes through again the regression cycle, and once everything is done, then only it becomes part of the larger pool. So that's also how GTP helps you keep your cost in check. And we have seen customers where they were able to do UAT in 2 weeks. I'm not talking about months, but 2 weeks, entire UAT for the front end, back end. And if you have this full automation set up as part of your projects, you can actually get rid of your UAT team. So you don't have to worry about it, totally automated. So project test and planning, wet test recorder, it has a recorder as well, reusable scenarios. You don't have to code any of the test. You can do test management. It has data-driven services. So all the analytics that it'll capture can be generated into reports and passed on to your stakeholders on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. It can do parallel execution across all platforms, like all browsers, physical devices, logical devices. It is a cloud-based solution, but it's also available on-prem, which means you can just take your own version, deploy it. You want to make changes, you can. It's your product. Once we have set it up for you, you don't have to worry about it. It also supports auto hailing, visual validation. So as I was talking about, comparing the screenshots with the approved design, pixel mapping, it can do that too. And it can also do API testing, which is very important for microservices based architecture. So that is something that I want to talk about today. We are 35 minutes in, and at this point, I will ask if anyone has any questions. So let me open my comment section to see if someone has any questions. Anyone? Any questions, please? I have a couple of slides which I'll probably go through after the questions that might come my way. Okay, I don't see any question at this point, so let me quickly go through these slides too, and then I will come back on the question and answer. All right. So, and this is not the only accelerator that Royal Cyber has built. We have built a lot of different accelerators, and our customers are using them on a daily basis and taking advantage of it. So why stay back? You can also take advantage of all these accelerators that we have built. There's no licensing involved. They become your property once we deploy it for you. So whether it's in the headless space, in the automation space, artificial intelligence, B2C, B2B, we have all these various components that are built. Another component which is very widely popular from Royal Cyber is a 3D customizer platform. Again, it's a 3DDD plus site. If you go there, it comes pre-integrated with all e-commerce platforms. So your products can be visualized in 3D. You don't have to do any special photography. We can use existing product images from your website, constitute a 3D model, and then your customers can actually view the 3D model. You can also proceed to AR, VR, or you can use it for the 360 view as well. So that is left to you. In terms of next steps, what are we looking at? Royal Cyber does offer a complimentary assessment. It's a 2-week assessment where my team will sit with your stakeholders to understand what your current monolith setup looks like. What is your roadmap? What are your immediate pain points? What are your long-term goals? We try to put that together in terms of requirements, and then what we do is we do a fit gap analysis. So if you are where you are today, and if you know exactly where you want to be, so we can do a fit gap analysis. Okay, this is where you are, and if you want to go here, these are the various steps that are required. We also do an analysis once you have chosen your future platform, that how many features that you currently have on the website would be supported on that platform out of the box. One step further, what we do is, like, for all the customizations which the new platform will not support, Royal Cyber has written accelerators. So we'll also tell you that these customizations need not be done because Royal Cyber already has an accelerator, which means you can save your time and money on rewriting that customizations with Royal Cyber accelerators. And whatever remains becomes a part of the customizable component of the project. So we also do a high-level design on the same. We help you understand what should constitute your MVP. If you are looking for that experience from Royal Cyber, we help you understand that. So we give you a single plan or a phased out plan, that this is what we can do as part of MVP, then phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, keeping your time constraints and pricing constraints in mind, and we can help you be where you want to be. And then we can also do a POC, which is again complimentary. So you get a complimentary assessment first of all, then you get a complimentary POC on the YOC platform. Now, this is a limited POC, which means you can choose between what kind of integration you want to achieve and see your existing platform with. So you want to do an integration with your existing e-commerce to see how the products will pop up on, or they will be visible on Royal Server SPA. You want to do an integration with the search. So we connect our YOC with your e-commerce, and then allow you to use an external search, which can be Elasticsearch, Algolia, Bloomreach. So we can do that too. And third one is like integrating your existing site with a third-party CMS. So using YOC, we can integrate Adobe AEM, Contentful, Content Stack, Drupal, using Royal Cyber's View Storefront. So we can integrate that and let you experience how, as a business user, you can take advantage of the platform and make changes on the fly. So with that, I'm at the end of the session. Feel free to reach out if you have any specific questions. I'll open once again to see if there are any questions coming my way. I do not see any questions. Let me check on my phone as well. Oh yeah, so there is no question from audience, so that's good. No question is always good. It's either I have been too elaborate and you understood everything, or probably the other way around. But anyways, it was a pleasure hosting this webinar today. So thank you for your time. Any questions, you can always reach out to us. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. Bye bye, everyone. Take care.